Welcome back, guys. Today we have another review video for you. I have here the Inart Studios or Queen Studios, as you can see by the new logo in here, Arkham Origins Batman. Now this is the standard version. This is not the battle damage version, which I believe is going to be coming out a little bit later. This is the version that is out right now in China, so it should be here in the US pretty soon. Now this is the box. Really nice box art. Similar size. I was actually surprised by the size of the box. It's pretty similar size to the other Batman release, the Dark Knight Batman they released. Nice box. Nothing crazy. Same inserts as the other Batman. But moving on to the figure, and there he is. And something I'll say right away is this thing is beautiful. It is imposing in hand. It just oozes Arkham Batman. They really knocked it out of the park with this one. I know a lot of people are concerned with the size. I'll make sure to show off the size comparisons later. In my opinion, it's well sized. I think that they really did a good job with the details. For me, Batman's bigger in those games. He's taller, he's broader shouldered, just overall a bigger Batman than we have from like the animated series or Batman Begins. Even this is Arkham Batman is a bigger body Batman, so the sizing for this figure, in my opinion, really makes sense. All right, let's get into some articulation. This is where I think Inart really did improve. The articulation on this thing is pretty good. There are some spots that I am not super happy with, like up here in the shoulders, which I'll show in a second. But overall, I think they really did improve the articulation. So we have drop-down thighs here, and you can see that drop-down is pretty far. And with this drop-down, the interesting part actually is the hinge in here is very stiff. So unlike Mafex, where they get loose over time, this thing, like, you have to push and pull on it to get that drop-down, which also means if I only want a little bit of drop-down, I only have to do a little bit of drop down. If I want max drop down, it's really good for posing because it kind of stops where you want it to. So we'll continue with the legs. You get, without drop down, your legs about here. With the drop down, you get a pretty good range for a Batman this big. You have thigh swivel, which you can move pretty far. It does stop here in the front where it hits that diaper piece, but otherwise it's pretty good. It's pretty good thigh swivel. You have boot swivel down here, unhindered boot swivel, by the way, where you can go 360 degrees. As you can see, this knee piece is actually part of the joint, so as long as you clear that knee piece, you get to swivel this bad boy all the way around. You get double jointed knees, which that little feature in there, I don't know if you guys could see on camera, but the knee kind of like moves in the more range you need. You see it start to press inward the more range you need, which is really cool. It allows that knee to come up way high. Everything on here, something I'll say, everything on here is very firm, but in a good way. I wouldn't say it's stiff like it feels like it's going to break. I would say it's more firm. With the ankles, okay, they kind of have almost like figure art, the newer Goku ankles, where it's ball to ball in here, so you can actually, you're going to move that ankle forward to get more pivot and range, and you can see that downward is really far. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pivot back, and that upwards is also really far. I actually just popped it out there, but that upwards is really good. Your inner turn is going to be really well. Turns really good. Your outer, pretty good as well. Now this piece right here, that armor piece above the foot, is soft rubber, so it doesn't really hinder that much. A lot of soft rubber on this figure, which I really like. Going up here to the abs, looks like we have a ball here and a ball here. So we're going to get really good. I mean, you combine both ab crunches, you get really good ab crunch here. You also get articulation and rotation here. This top one can rotate. It's just not. It's just tight. I wouldn't force it. I wouldn't push it. But with the amount that you get down here, I wouldn't worry about that articulation there. It does move back really well, as you can see. For our arms, and this is where I slightly have the issues. For our arms, you have no forearm rotation here. You do have double jointed elbows, but because his biceps are bigger, that's all you're going to get out of that elbow. Pretty good. No, it's not insane. It's not terrible. It's it's mediocre. It's right. Nothing special. Shoulders, you're going to get pretty good shoulder movement. Now, this is one of the issues. These shoulder pad pieces here, these pieces here are rubber, soft rubber, and they're actually attached to the butterfly joint in here so that they can move and maneuver separately from the actual shoulder. As you can see, shoulder can move around, and these are just moving with that butterfly in here. My issue is I'm worried over time, and you can actually kind of see it already, is over time with a lot of posing, a lot of movement, these are going to start to warp, and mine have. I did some shots that you'll see later on in the video where I had his arm up, shooting his grappling gun, and you can see that rubber stretching right there. And because of it, when I first pulled this out, these shoulders sat tight to these shoulder pads set tight to those shoulders. They're still there, and they still look good, but I am worried over time with that warping. Now back to their arm articulation. You do get bicep swivel, 360 all the way around. Wrists move really well. It's just a ball, so you can swap positions here. I think they did a great job with articulation. Head side to side here, really well. Back up, really well. Down, really well. I think they did a good job, like I was saying, with articulation. I think there are obviously spots that they can improve on. I think they will continue to improve as they continue to release these characters. But Inart, if you're watching this, you're probably not. But if you are, I would really try to do something else with these shoulder pads in the future, because I'm really worried about these getting warped. And I would also try to do something to add some forearm swivel here, because it can be a little bit limiting and stiff looking in certain shots. Okay, getting into accessories now. One thing I do want to do real quick, I forgot to do for the articulation spot here, is I do want to show off the butterfly real quick, or lack thereof. Because of that chest piece being the way it is, and even if you do pull the shoulders out and try to get as much range as you can, this is about all you're going to get for butterfly, which I know it's hard to see at this angle, but it is pretty limited, especially compared to something like the LPZZ Arkham Batman, which has these movable chest pieces. So that is something to be aware of when purchasing, or if you haven't decided on this Batman, that is something to be aware of, that the articulation is slightly limited in that chest area because of the way the chest and shoulders are. Getting into accessories now. I'll get a good amount of accessories. We do have some one-off hands, which isn't always my favorite. I do like when everything kind of comes in pairs so that you can have right and left. Okay, so you do get 4 pairs of hands, and then you get 2 one-off hands. Both one-offs are for the right hand. You get this hand here, which is for holding the spray gun, for the bomb gun, and then you get this hand here where he is actually holding one of those bombs. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. Otherwise, you get the 2 fists, which are on the figure. You get 2 more fist-like hands, which, as you can see, have slits here. If I can get it to focus, have slits here where the batarang actually slides into. You have 2 hands here to hold his grappling gun. You have two hands. Now these ones are slightly different, not significantly different, but slightly different. You have this one here that that is used to hold this bad boy right here, this little guy, for doing his little spray, for his bomb spray, his gel. Oop. And you have this one here, which is actually used, funnily enough, for his little map piece. It is to, you'll see in a picture later, this is to hold his the side here, like this, of his map, his infotainment center. Other than that, like I said, we have these two extra hands here. We also get an extra head, which is a teeth gritting angry face head. Really well done, a lot of detail. I mean, the individualism with the teeth here. The eyes, looks like there's not much paint in the eyes, if at all. But really well done. I really do like that teeth gritting head. You get a grapple, which comes with 3 grapple lines. One long extended one, and 2 short ones, just in case you lose one of them. They are really small. They are made of metal, so it is something you're going to have to be really cautious of when using that grappling hook. Is the grappling lines are thin metal, and you got to be really careful with that. Getting into the grapple gun, nice, simple. It does not adjust like the ones do on some of the other Arkham figures. It's solitary as it is, just a solid piece. The detail is really good though. Paintwork's nice, nothing crazy. You have the infotainment center here, which I'm going to flip around so you can see. It does actually have kind of like a dry rub on it, on the actual screen, to kind of maybe give it that look of being the map. There is no map on it, but it looks really good in hand. If you don't get too close, you won't see that there's not a map. You have, like I said, the gel gun for the explosives. You get a singular batarang here, which is really thin and small and hard to pick up. Single batarang here does not have any of that middle center coloring like we've seen in the past, which is fine. It's nothing to cry about. It would have been nice if they gave it some color on the center there, but it's fine as it is. And then you have the electromagnetic gun here. This does have some dry wash to it to give it some detail and give it some depth. Really nice. Everything looks really good. I think they did a really good job. Overall with the accessories, I don't think you could have needed much more. It does come with, as well, I didn't take it out of the box, it does come with a base and stand like the other Inarts have come with. I believe the Wukong actually comes with that same base as well. So it does not come with the Arkham, kind of like the Dark Knight did, where it had its own actual base. It does not come with its own actual base. It just comes with the normal stand that the other ones have come with. All right, let's get into some size comparisons. But before we do that, I do want to show one thing that I would be remiss if I did not show, that I do have an issue with, and it is my fault for not showing, again, during the articulation segment. I'm disappointed with this cape. The cape is pretty looking. I will tell you, based on the material, it is going to collect a lot of dust and debris. But this cape only has 2 wires, and they are thin. There's no other wiring throughout this cape. I think for a Batman this big, and this towering, this menacing, especially in the scale that they have it in, you need to have multiple wires throughout that cape to really get that unique Batman look, that Arkham look of the big, broad caped Batman. That being said, let's get into some size comparisons. This is what a lot of people are waiting on, to kind of see the scaling. So here we have the LPZZ Deathstroke. Here we have the LPZZ the LPZZ Arkham Batman. And here we have the LPZZ, smallest of them all, Red Death. As you can see, the Inart Batman is big. I don't think, like I said, I don't think it's overly sized. You can see with Deathstroke here, I don't think that sizing is too bad. I think in pictures it can be manipulated pretty well for them to look similar, within similar scale. I think with something like, if you're going to use it with any of these Metal Knights figures that LPZZ is releasing, it's most definitely going to be too big. Now I will show you this new Inart Batman with something I was excited for because everybody kept talking about how big he is. And here is a figure that I thought was really good but never got a Batman with it, but is of the 1/10 scale. So this is the Inart Batman with the 1/10 Storm Collectibles Injustice Bane. And you can see sizing wise, it's not too bad. Bane is still massive, still way oversized, but for the Bane that is Injustice Bane, Bane is ginormous. So for the size, I mean, if you're going to put a Batman next to it, honestly, this Inart Batman is the best Batman you could probably use, just because that LPZZ one is just a little bit on the smidge on the small side. So you'll see later in the photos, this is the figure I used to show off the Inart. They size well together, in my opinion. This is one of my favorite Bane figures. Honestly, probably the best articulated Bane figure that we have. The McFarlane ones are fine, but comparatively, I think that Storm really did the best job with those Injustice figures. Unfortunately, we didn't get an Injustice Batman and we didn't get an Injustice Superman. So this fills that role pretty well. I'm not going to say that this figure is 1/10 scale. It is a bigger 1/12 scale figure. If anything, Inart very clearly was at the wrong end of scaling with the Dark Knight Batman they did, and then overcorrected and you got a little bit bigger Batman. But I think that overcorrection works pretty well for the Arkham Origins Batman. I think because this is a bigger Batman in the game, I think that overcorrection honestly works well. Guys, thank you for watching the video. Please continue to give support. I will hopefully be improving. I'm going to try to be doing more of these, try to improve on quality and volume and everything. I've gotten the complaints, and I appreciate it. Please, if you have complaints, leave them down in the comment section below, or you can always reach out on my Instagram, which is under the same name, Figure Fanatics. Reach out on the Instagram and let me know kind of what you think I can do to improve these videos to what maybe you want to see. All right? Anyways, give a like, subscribe, and comment, and enjoy your weekends.